Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is March 21st, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Work went well. Um, it was grindy in the sense of like, hey, a little busy. Maybe this was like the busy day of the week, but overall, it was pretty copacetic, pretty standard day, pretty nice, easy. Let's see here. Food corner last night. I had burgers, hot dogs, fries, and it was nice. It was nice to get back to my favorite food. I realized for a couple weeks I hadn't like made burgers and hot dogs at home, and it was just nice to get back to it. But I also realized I was almost out of step. Like, this is the easiest thing for me to make, and I'm like missing this or missing that. Like, oh, oopsie daisy. Like, I forgot to put onions on my burger. Well, R.I.P. But it was still good. It was still a yummy burger. For the fries, I actually have two types, so I was just running both, or at least I had two types. Now I'm down to one, but I had the crinkle cut and I had the curly fries. You love a good curly fry, and I don't know. I feel like it's always a nice treat when you're eating curly fries and it's not at Arby's. I mean, granted, they are the peak of the curly fry for sure. I don't think you're going to an Arby's. I don't think you're going to anywhere else and getting better curly fries. Maybe if so, shout them out in the comments. Let me know. But just making them at home feels nice because then you get to pair the curly fry with whatever you want. You're God now. You know what I mean? That's nice. Let's see here. I mean, is there really anything else to yap about myself? No, not really. Like I said, spirits are good. I feel like I'm in a good mood. And, Thursday's my favorite day. So, we love to see it. I'm basking in it. Speaking of Carol Baskin, I don't know why I said that. Whatever. I wanted to make a cute, quirky joke, but I'm no Tiger King. Anyway, it's startup time. So I'm gonna take my startup. I'm gonna stop making dumb, bad jokes, and hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood. And we're gonna talk about some news. Yeah, I got an update. Got some random stuff to talk about. So the usual. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. So this is a bit of an update, but depravity. AG blasts white officer sentence in racially motivated torture of two black men. Let's see here. I did cover this story already. I know I had talked about two of the officers, but there's remaining like four of them. And like I said, I'd assumed that all of these motherfuckers were going to get vaguely the same sentencing. And more or less that was the case, but there was one that had stuck out. Let's see here. Well, we'll get to that. Let's see. Let's just read a little bit. Six former Mississippi law enforcement officers were sentenced to decades in prison during hearings in federal court in Jackson this week for their roles in the torture of two black men, according to the U.S. Department of Justice. Four of the former officers were sentenced earlier this week, while the last two were sentenced on Thursday. Former Rankin County Sheriff Deputy Brett McAlpin was sentenced on Thursday to about 27 years in prison. So that's the second largest amount, which is very big. I say very big in the sense of I'm so used to seeing cops skate away for just killing people, just more or less in cold blood, but saying, oh, I was just doing my job. I was just defending myself. I was protecting and serving. I promise. And they just get away with it. Or they get time, but it's literally like, 5-10 years time served. Whereas like you see this depraved thing, and I'm almost shocked in my own way at myself. It's just like I'm so desensitized to this shit that like this is surprising to me to see these guys like get actual justice like served to them. You know what I mean? So I was happy to see this 27 years, but honestly, let's see, there's more. While former Richland police officer Joshua Hartfield was sentenced to 10 years. So that was the lowest. Um, I kind of think that they should all have been set at a higher bar, which is the one I'm going to get to now, which is, I believe, Christian Dedmond. Yes. Former Rankin County Sheriff Deputy Christian Dedmond was sentenced to 40 years in prison during a hearing in federal court in Jackson on Wednesday for his role in the torture of Jenkins and Parker, as well as the assault of another man during an incident in December 2022 during a traffic stop. So yeah, I kind of thought since like Elward, or whatever the fuck the other guy was, since he was literally the trigger man in the whole Mock's execution part, I thought he was gonna be the top, and he was like 20 years. I think the guy who had got sentenced next to him was also like 17 and a half. I know I should have these names in better order and organization, but I don't. Also, there was Daniel Opdyke. Opdyke, there it is. Daniel Opdyke was sentenced to 17 and a half years. Let's see. Yeah, Jeffrey Middleton also received 17 and a half years. And Hunter Elward, who was the guy who did the Mock's execution. I believe he was also the guy in another traffic stop situation with someone else. Even though, wait, I should rephrase that. The situation that I mentioned with the two black men were not traffic stops. That was, hey, a person called, concerned citizen said, hey, there's these black men, and I'm assuming he said it in a worse way. They're with these white women. They're shacked up. You guys got to do something about it. So they went in, broke into this house, no warrant, and tortured two black men for 90 minutes. And then did a Mock's execution, blew out someone's like literal mouth. And, you know, now that person can't talk the same, can't eat the same, you know, lives with trauma, both men, you know. But hey, like I said, I'm glad that justice was served here. I was shocked that Dedmond, who was the ringleader, I guess, he got 40 years. But good. Like, you know, like I'm not usually rooting for the justice system here, but like, hey, they at least gave some justice to these men. But I mean, it doesn't take anything away. Even if they get that money from the $400 million lawsuit or whatever, like, I mean, I hope they get it. I hope they get their bag there. But once again, that doesn't undo any of this stuff. Neither does any of the motherfuckers apologizing or whatever. That's why, you know, part of the reason I don't feel like quoting them. Also, I'm lazy. Y'all know me. But yeah, you know, I don't know if this necessarily puts a nail in it. I think there might be more, you know, more cases, more things to go through. I think this was really a tip of an iceberg, sadly, that there was a lot more cases, a lot more shit that's probably not even going to come to light because people just suffered silently because who wants to fuck with the fucking police? You know, it just feels like such a losing battle. So I'm glad to see that these two men got a win. So at least in that regard. So let's go on and move on to the next beat, the new news, if you will. Oh, excuse me. From the Associated Press, Justice Department sues Apple, alleging it illegally monopolized the smartphone market. The Justice Department on Thursday announced a sweeping antitrust law against Apple, accusing the tech giant of engineering an illegal monopoly in smartphones that boxed out competitors, stifles innovation, and keeps prices artificially high. The lawsuit, filed in federal court in New Jersey, alleges that Apple has monopoly power in the smartphone market and leverages control over the iPhone to engage in a broad, sustained, and illegal course of conduct. Apple has locked its customers into the iPhone while locking its competitors out of the market, said Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco, stalling the advancement of the very market it revolutionized. She said, it has smothered an entire industry. Now, Apple says that the lawsuit is wrong on the facts and the law, and that it will vigorously defend itself. I personally think that, like, I'm with, once again, so strangely, weirdly, I'm with the lawsuit. I'm with the government on this one. I've never been the biggest fan of Apple. Well, that's not true. I think I've always respected, still do, the aesthetics that like Apple is as a brand. I think they're very smart about that. But I think that they've taken it to the utmost degree that they've turned this aesthetic into saying like, oh, this aesthetic is actually better technology. And I don't think that's actually true in almost every case that you actually go through like individually. At least comparing it to like any kind of like, Android phone. I shouldn't say any, but I mean, you could put like the best Android phone here of this thing and that thing, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is going to probably outperform Apple. But Apple has kind of always had the aesthetics, and then also said, hey, we're going to protect you. We're going to protect your data, your information, your privacy, and they kind of create this like walled garden that's used in the article. I really like that phrasing, but essentially saying like, hey, you want to use this product, we're siloing you, but in such a good way. It's so good for you. Like, even though the situation where it's like, hey, your phone might like not work in 2 years. Oh, what a coincidence. It's right in line with your contract. You should just get a new phone. Like, even though the shit could be like unnecessary, like almost vaporware, like you don't even need this like extra attachment, but like, oh, we're going to tell you it's lightning fast cable charger. And it's like, in the UK goes, no, dude, you got to make a universal goddamn charger. Stop fucking around, And I think that this walled garden is kind of closing in on Apple, and this is maybe one of their last stands on it. But who knows? I really don't know how this is going to shake out. I think that's what makes this so interesting, because it's almost a vague monopoly that they have, right? Like, I personally am following along and saying, hey, I agree with you, Mr. Law Person, whatever. Like, I think you're right. I think this is a monopoly. But, like, can you say, like, hey, colored by numbers, this is exactly a monopoly? Maybe not. Maybe no. Because you can say, hey, there's other companies in this market, in the smartphone market. Like, yeah, we're a little weird and quirked up and funky with it. Like, yeah, but, like, isn't that just us being innovative? Swish, swish, Once again, I disagree. I think, though, the SMS thing, the text messaging thing, the green text, the blue text bullshit, I don't know. That's off. Like, that to me is like one of the most it pisses me off so much. But then that goes down to me also the customers. Like, I've had friends who literally don't like invite me to group chats because I'm an Android user, and I'm like, bro, okay, dude. Like, I don't need to go get drinks with you guys if it's that deep for you. Like, it's so silly. But yet, if I had an Android or if I had an Apple phone, like, I'd be in the clique. I'd be here and there and everywhere. Like, literally, you could just go fuck yourself. I don't care that much. It's a phone. And I personally do actually like Android. I used to have a MacBook, and I loved that MacBook. But then I realized I was literally making it harder to play the games I wanted to play, do the stuff I wanted to do on literally just a default computer, because it's not like I'm like, the artiste or anything like that. I just thought I was just rocking a cool fucking computer, and that's really all it was. But other than that, like, once I got off of that and went to a cheaper thing, like, just a normal laptop, a normal little thing, like, literally the world opened up to me, and it was so crazy. It was wild. So I've definitely been on it. I've been on the chain, if you will. I've drank the Kool-Aid. But, yeah, I don't know. For me, I'm cool. I should read a little bit more. I kind of just went full riff mode. Let's see here. That includes diminishing the functionality of non-Apple smartwatches, limiting access to contactless payment for third-party digital wallets, and refusing to allow its iMessage app to exchange encrypted messaging with competing platforms. And now, I know that they'll say, well, oh, we're protecting your information so well with that. But it's like, how? Like, you have the ability to work with Android, and this will work out in a way that everything could be encrypted still, but you make it not work, You make it so that there's this division. That to me, and then also just the idea of saying, like, hey, we're going to make it harder for software to interact with each other because we're Mac. That's just how we roll. And it's like, how is that effective? Like, that's another thing for me. That's why it's harder for me to even want to buy into Apple anymore, because it's just like, this is your brand. Like, you've literally made this your brand. Once again, aesthetics as a brand, and that's it. Once you actually dig into it, it's like, this is just weird software. It's not better software. So that to me is a bummer. I will definitely try to keep you posted there. Like I said, I truly do not want to get into it, I guess. I just wanted to talk about it like I want to do. But yeah, that's why you reference the article. By all means, do your own digging. I don't want to pull an Aaron. I hate using the phrase "do your own research" these days. That shit has been beat to death by the worst people who don't like wearing shirts with cameras. That's crazy. Looking at you, Alex. But anyway, Another thing I kind of wanted to mention too, they were saying that Apple stock took a hit, and just in general, like they haven't really been able to build, but also people have been bummed at them for not doing AI, which actually I say tip in your hat, Apple. Like, sure, I'm not gonna pay what was it, like $3,000 or whatever for the goddamn Apple smart vision shit or whatever, but like at least you guys are smart enough to understand that like we shouldn't be doing this goddamn AI shit yet. It's just not needed, and it's not worth the goddamn time and the fucking potential kerfuffle it could get us into. You know what I mean? We don't need this kind of drama. We don't need these kind of problems. All right, we're dealing with China on a day-to-day basis. We got other fish to fry. But needless to say, Google has bought into this. So this is something I wanted to kind of mention. It's a bit offhand as we kind of lily pad to the next thing. But we're in the tech world. We're talking about Apple. Let's talk about Google. From Reuters, French competition watchdog hits Google with 250 million euro fine. French competition watchdog, or France's competition watchdog on Wednesday said it fined Alphabet's Google 250 million euros, or $271.73 million. Sorry, I'm trying to read that correctly. For breaches linked to EU intellectual property rules in relationship with media publishers, citing concerns about the company's AI service. So yeah, they had the chatbot Bard, which is now Gemini. Essentially they said, yo, your guys are fucking up the news bag, you're fucking up other publishers and shit like that. Like, you can't just get away with this for free, so you gotta pay some fucking money. And they're on the hook for these 250 million euros. They've essentially just settled, and they said, hey, we'll fucking pay it, we'll call it breakage, it's no big deal, okay. And they shelling it out. But I'm really just kind of saying this because this is, news, it's relevant, but I really fucking hate AI. Like, I've never wanted to use the Google Gemini because literally the Bard was just fucking dog shit. It was just getting shit wrong. It was doing dumbass hallucinations. It's just not worth the time. Like, I don't know. Taking it back, like I used ChatGPT maybe once or twice just to see what it was like. It was kind of fun just to kind of, noodle around on there. But that's it. That's all it is. Like, but people will try to use it for like a search engine. They'll try to use it for like, therapy, trying to make a goddamn best friend out of it. And it's like, I would not suggest it, Once again, hey, I'm not sponsored, but BetterHelp, probably better than a junk AI bot. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm cool on it. I'm really trying to avoid using AI for as long as I can. You know what I mean? More power to you though, if that's your thing, and once again you enjoy it. I think one day it will get there, but today is not that day. I just don't think it's that. I don't think it's the year for it yet. But it's such a big buzzword. Everyone loves saying it. That's why it's like shareholders are like, so what are you gonna do about that AI, buddy? When's that coming out? It's like, hopefully never. Hopefully we just give you good products that you actually can use and won't like fail you. No, they want that robot shit. Anyway, let's move on to the next beat. We're actually gonna talk baseball. You ready to talk baseball with me? You wanna do some sports? I don't know. Anyway, from Los Angeles Times, Shohei Ohtani's attorneys accused interpreter of massive theft tied to alleged gambling. That's right, I got you. We're actually talking about scams. You're talking about potential fraud. Representatives of the Dodgers superstar Shohei Ohtani on Wednesday accused his interpreter of engaging in a massive theft of the ballplayers' funds to place bets with an illegal bookmaker. I'm going to say bookie, most likely, because I love saying that. Who is the target of a federal investigation. Lawyers for Ohtani made a claim that after the Times learned that Ohtani's name had surfaced in the investigation of Matthew Boyer, an Orange County resident, Ohtani's representatives looked into the actions of the interpreter, Ippy Mizuhara. In response to the Times queries, a source close to the matter said, Two sources told the newspaper that the money involved was in the millions of dollars. Now, Shohei Ohtani made like a record-breaking deal 10-year, $700 million contract with the Dodgers after playing 6 years with the Angels. Apparently, he's a super talented motherfucker. He can do it all. He's one of those types of dudes. Like, I feel like they've been like comparing him. He's like the LeBron James of baseball, and like more so even in Japan, he's like the biggest fucking thing, like the biggest athlete out of Japan. Like, everyone loves this dude, knows about this dude, that like they care about him. And this Mizuhara guy, they kind of became like not just like associates, like they're pretty tight, like, they go everywhere together. It's reported that even though he's been let go of the team, Mizuhara and Ohtani are still working together, which to me, I'm sorry. If you've taken millions of dollars from me, there ain't no way we're friendly. Ain't no way you're still talking for me, quite literally. No way, no how. But I mean, apparently their friendship runs deep, but also this is kind of leading to speculation of like, well, oh, okay, well, what was Ohtani's, relationship to the gambling? Because it's his money, right? Like, was he looking for him? Maybe was this like so? And that is like more or less emphatically said no, at least as of right now. Like, no, this was Mizuhara. He has a gambling problem, and he was making millions of dollars with this illegal bookie, and that's where we're at. That's the story. That's why Mizuhara had to got let go. And I guess Ohtani's just being a cool guy about this millions of dollars. But I mean, hey, when you have millions of dollars already in the bank, you now have a $700 million contract. I mean, what is $1 million to you? Maybe this is something that, like, if this is like someone who's really close to me, this is my roadie, he fucked up, then like, okay, I'll give him a pass. But once again, I can only talk with my poor guy brain, and I would just want to kill this guy, I would think, right? I would definitely want to make sure he's cut out of my life. Like, you're definitely not hanging out with my wife anymore, bro, or your wife and my wife are not hanging out. We're not going on double dates. You feel me? You're not, once again, you're not speaking for me anymore, dog. You have a gambling problem, at least as I've gathered so far. I mean, who knows? There's also talk of like, well, the initial story that came out was Ohtani knew, and he was giving the money, or he was okay with it. He's like, okay, it's fine. Like, whatever, just, I imagine, get better, whatever. Obviously, I'm not a fly on the wall here. But then the story breaks further, more questions get asked, and then Mizuhara goes, no, he didn't know. He didn't know at all. I took the money. So it's like, oh, what's the story? What's real here? So we are definitely just scratching the surface here. We're in the first inning, maybe. I don't know. Baseball's a long game, if you don't know. It takes forever. I'm not the biggest fan, but I don't know. I definitely found this shit interesting. A lot of money, once again, scams, apparently bet from between besties, but yet once again you're still like hanging out. That's so crazy. Fired from the team. How does that work? Like, yeah, lots of questions, not so many answers. So yeah, I wanted to kind of bat that around, talk about that a little bit. Yeah, we have one more thing to cover, though, before I let you go. Let me go ahead and take my break. I'm going to rehydrate myself, and among other things. And then, yeah, we'll cover this last little bit. It's kind of for the kids, in a way. Oh. Ooh, ah. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, wow. Ooh. Took my own breath away. Thank you for sitting in silence with me for a little bit. Okay. I had to do it. Sorry. Okay. NBC News. 3 children dubbed the Little Rascals accused of robbing Houston Bank. three boys dubbed the Little Rascals for allegedly robbing a Texas bank were behind bars Thursday, the FBI said. The juveniles, ages 11, 12, and 16, have each been charged with robbery by threat, a spokesperson for the Harris County Sheriff Office in Houston said in an email. Because they are juveniles, their names and no additional details will be released, the spokesperson said. It was the FBI's office in Houston that nicknamed the underage suspects after they were caught on camera March 14th, allegedly robbing a Wells Fargo bank in the Greenspoint neighborhood of the city. The FBI posted a photo on X of the hoodie-clad threesome inside the bank's lobby and asked the public for help finding them. Recognize these little rascals, the FBI posted. Believe it or not, they just robbed the Wells Fargo at 10261 North Freeway. So apparently they just wrote a threatening note to the teller, and that's all they needed. I mean, I'm actually very glad that we didn't have any fucking heroes in the building and like people who wanted to literally break policy and, potentially like risk their lives to, stop a thief. Like at the end of the day, dude, just let him fucking go, dude. Like, I'm sorry. It's just not worth it. This isn't me being pro-crime or anything at the end of the goddamn day. But yeah, I initially heard of this story. I was, surfing through X. I was on my Twitter shit. Felix Biederman of Chapo Trap House had posted this shit, and I was just dying. I was like, I cannot believe this shit, man. What a world. So yeah, I mean, I didn't know that at that point they were still at large. They were still looking for the little rascals. But yeah, it looks like they found them. The parents of the two boys identified them after the FBI released a photo and called the agency. Damn, it be your own folks, bro. It really is. The FBI office in Houston appears to have a penchant for giving wanted suspects catchy nicknames. Earlier this week, the agency posted on X a photo of a man wanted for a March 13th robbery of a Capital One bank branch in West Houston and dubbed him the over-the-hill heister. Dude, I'm glad that the FBI at least has some goddamn levity, Hey, when they're not doing some corrupt shit, them or the CIA, at least they have a sense of humor about it, right? Sorry for we missed you, MLK. Even though we totally sent you a letter to kill yourself. Don't worry about it. We love you with love. Anyway, that's it. That's all I have. Oh man, what an episode. What a day. It's been nice yapping to you, as it always is. But if you'd like to help out the effort, support financially, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Isaiah News. I shout you out at the top of the month, plug a project if you'd like. Free ways to hit me up, isaiahnews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or contact me, via the socials. Also, please leave a comment on the YouTube. I think we got a new subscriber. I think we're at 59. Woo, let's go, dude. We're almost at 60 and 10 away from 69, which would be nice. Also, speaking of which, we are 3 away from 69 on, I believe, Spotify. So there you go. You can become a follower there. I think all these things help out the algo. I think the great AI in the sky likes when you do those things. And then thus potentially gets me closer to making, real dollary dues, real monies, which I would love. But truthfully, Lord knows I don't do this shit for the goddamn money, honey. I really just love talking. I really just love experiencing this world with you guys and gals, MBs, everybody. And, just thanks so much for tuning in. And thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.